What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to give you our season preview for the Tennessee Titans. All that and much more coming your way right now! All right, before we get into today's video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video as it will help us out tremendously. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video. All right, Nick, with training camp right around the corner, we have yet another season preview to get to. Today, we're going to be talking about the Tennessee Titans, the Titans who did not have the season that they wanted last year, dealing without their mammoth running back, Derrick Henry. This guy has been absolutely phenomenal up until last season when he finally got hurt. And honestly, it's going to be one hell of a road back for such a big-bodied running back. But when you take a look at what the Titans were able to do this offseason, getting some additions, losing some players, some of those players that they brought in looking really nice. Robert Woods, Austin Hooper, you're looking at some really good players, veteran players who can come in and step in right away. In the draft, they brought in Treylon Burks and Roger McCreary. These guys are going to help step up and really take over for this team, really working well as a young core. And then on the other side, some of the losses that you have to start off with Julio Jones and AJ Brown, two massive wide receivers no longer with this team. And then you also have to take a look at Jayon Brown going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Massive losses for this team for sure. And when you take a look at what their schedule looks like, it is not going to be pretty. Taking on the AFC West this season, Nick, the first 6 weeks of the season, how do the Tennessee Titans look?
Yeah, well, through the first 6 weeks of the season, they get off to a bad start, losing the first 3 games, but then they pick it up in week 4. And when we take a look at week 1, when they're facing the New York Giants, you're thinking to yourself that there's no way that they could lose a game to the New York Giants. But Derrick Henry did not look like himself during that playoff game last year, and he is notoriously slow, getting off to a bad start in the early part of the season. And then when you look at the Giants, they've made a lot of improvements that will help them, but none bigger to me than Brian Daboll. His play calling ability with the weapons that they have on that roster are going to be very hard to stop. They're going to be spreading the ball around a ton. Improved offensive line that's going to help Saquon Barkley, and I don't think that the front seven for the Tennessee Titans will be able to keep up in week 1 with this offense, and the Giants will be able to come out on top. But then in week 4, they start to pick things up against their biggest divisional rival in the Indianapolis Colts, where the Colts offensive line has gotten worse, and the edge rushers will have a lot of opportunities to get to Matt Ryan, a very immobile quarterback, and Jonathan Taylor's going to struggle with this defensive line that has Harold Landry and big boy Jeffery Simmons. To me, this is a big game where the Titans can prove that they are still the best team in the division, no matter how bad of a start that they have to this season.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look, 3 straight losses into 2 straight wins, and then a week 6 bye, very early bye week for the Tennessee Titans, so they're going to have to get used to that. But looking at the next 6 weeks, we take a look at a great stretch of games for this Titans team. Week 7 through 10, nothing but wins. They have a little slip up in week 11 in Green Bay, in Lambeau Field against Aaron Rodgers and company. Nothing to be sad about there. And then in week 12, a massive victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. When you take a look at some of the teams that they're going through, though, in the middle part of this schedule, you have the Colts, you have the Texans, then the Chiefs and the Broncos, who are very, very tough opponents. And then they just get that little slip up in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers and company, they definitely have what it takes to be able to win, even though they don't have Devontae Adams and some of the weapons that he's used to having. That defense is still stellar, and they're going to be able to hone in on Derrick Henry and company. I think this is going to be an onslaught for Aaron Rodgers and company. I don't think this will be a pretty game for the Tennessee Titans. However, in week 12, massive victory over the Bengals. The Bengals are one of the most explosive offenses that you have in the NFL. Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, all of these guys are absolutely incredible. But the Titans being able to control the pace with Derrick Henry, being able to knock around that smallish defensive line that the Cincinnati Bengals have, I believe that the Titans will be able to keep control of this game, and they're going to keep the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands, and I believe that the Titans will end up winning this game in a very convincing fashion.
The Titans had a great middle third of the season, but then when we look at the last 6 games, they go off and on with wins and losses, ending the year 10-7. But in those games that they lose, the caliber of play is much higher, with it all being playoff caliber opponents. And in the games that they win, they're all divisional opponents that have not seen the playoffs in quite some time. And when we take a look at week 15 against the Los Angeles Chargers, a team that's going to be at the top of the AFC at the end of the year, they are going to be a team that, if the Titans make the playoffs, they're going to have to go up against. And when you look at this roster with the way they are constructed, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams still being the big wide receivers that Justin Herbert is throwing to in year 3, and this improved defense with Khalil Mack and JC Jackson, it's going to be very tough, and I don't think that the Titans have what it takes to get past them. But as I said, they have 3 divisional opponents in these last 6 weeks that are very easy, and they should have absolutely no problem getting past. The record may be good enough for them to get into the playoffs, but only time is going to tell how they stack up against the rest of the AFC. And if the losses in these last 6 games are showing us anything, the Eagles, the Chargers, and the Cowboys, they're going to have a tough road even if they make it.
Tennessee Titans are definitely one of those teams that did not improve this offseason. In fact, I think that they got slightly worse. And that with Derrick Henry rehabbing all offseason, he has not been able to continue to perfect his craft. Rather, he's trying to just get back onto the field healthy and ready to go for the start of the season. I think that's going to put a little hitch in the get up of this team. And I believe that they will start off the season very slow. But I want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comments down below what you think of the Titans schedule. Let us know what you think about them moving forward as well. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.